everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Praise. In a previous video, I shared some of my commonplace books and journaling things, and so today I wanted to share some of the sketchbooks that I've used and what I'm using now, and just kind of give you an overview of that. I think I have them all here. Looks like it. Okay, so I never really did a lot of stuff with art in like drawing or painting or anything like that. I tried at one time. I mostly, I mean, it's just probably still just as bad now as it was then. I did this, and I think this one I got in 2015, and it is a mess. It's been carried around and, you know, a mess. So, I just did like stickers, and I tried my hand at doing like lettering, and those are supposed to be my hands. I didn't finish that side. And then this one is another one where I just kind of did lettering, and supposed to be the sun, and it's supposed to be a dove. And I think those ones aren't dated, but the next one is dated, and I believe that this may actually have been 2014 that I did this. And I don't know if I shared this before. I think I have, but in oh, geez, I lost my thought there. Okay, in about that time, probably it may be before, I'm not sure, but at least in 2015 I remember, instead of doing like New Year's resolutions, since I never really did much before. I think my microphone is going to die. It's blinking red. Let me get the other one and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if it's actually not charged all the way or not, but I don't want the same thing to happen last time, and it did. I saw it blink red, so it may die out. So I got the other one. I didn't change the little cover, but it should be fine. So anyways, I was saying, instead of doing New Year's resolutions, I didn't do much anyway to begin with, but there was this thing that I learned, and I'm not sure if it was on an online Bible study group or where this came from that I learned about it, but it was to have a word of the year. So you would pray, and have God show you something that you needed to focus on in that year, in that coming year. So in 2014, I wrote down desert walking. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I think of the focus scripture, because that's another thing that goes along with this. The focus scripture was Psalm 63, 2-4. And so I did kind of a drawing. I used markers and colored pencils on this one. And then in 2015, the word was restoration. And then 1 Peter 5:10 was my scripture focus. So this is my drawing. Yeah, it's not great at all. It's like a child thing, but it helped to get some of this stuff out on the way I was seeing it, because I do like to journal, but I have a hard time sometimes finding words to express what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. So I decided that year to try to do some kind of drawing or whatever. So that one, it doesn't have a date, so so it must have been 2014, because this next one is December 28th, 2014. This one is also like a colored pencil. I have glitter, which I think was glitter glue that I used on this. So I was doing some like craft stuff with paper crafting. I think at that time I was doing pocket letters and making cards and different things like that. So this one is also sort of in the same line as the other one, but this is like how I was feeling and the things that I was carrying with me and you'll see a weird looking stick figure person with a very interesting outfit. And my hands and feet are just little round circles. And I have 2 of those, and I have a stamp that was a cat, or cat stamp, and then some stickers. And so it was just, there's scripture on it, and this is kind of like the dark stuff that, you know, that I was going through or carrying with me. And then this is just like leading into the light. So that was kind of part of the other one, which is like the desert walking or in the valley, in the darkness. And then this is like, you know, to the mountaintop, leading through to restoration. And those scriptures that I used there, on the bottom was Psalm 23:4, which is one of my favorite Psalms. So that's the one that says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." And an interesting aside, yesterday, excuse me, allergies. Yesterday, I believe it was on Instagram, and if I can find it again, I'll try to link it. There was a girl talking about this very scripture, and a lot of times the way she explained it that made a lot of sense was, you know, we read it and we think valley of death. We're going through the valley, but it's the valley of the shadow of death. So it's not like you're in death. It's not over yet. And, we can make it out of there. So then on the way through to the top part, I have James 4:7, which is, "Therefore submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." I have Psalm 16:11, "You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy." 2 Corinthians 12:9, "My grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness." And he leads me by still waters. He restores my soul. Psalm 23, 2-3. And then I just kind of put in some of the things that I was feeling. And here there's another Psalm 43:3. "Let them lead me to your holy hill and to your tabernacle." And on the road up to the top, I have love, grace, salvation, joy, and peace. And then the cross is salvation, grace, and covered by the blood. And I have a little arrow pointing there that says, "I must be emptied of me so God can work." And no fear in love. And in the sun, "Oh, send out your light and your truth." Down at the bottom, around the road there, is desolation, loneliness, sadness, darkness, trap, temptation, giving up, back to the pit. And then in the little bag that I'm pulling, it has, you know, different ailments that I deal with. And this is around the time that I was diagnosed with some of these different things. So yeah, that was about 2014, 10 years ago. It makes sense. That's about what I remember. So I have written in there carrying around sin, PCOS, osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia, high blood pressure, panic, fear, diabetes, pain. I don't know, not good enough, I think that's what I put there. Anxiety, hurt, hypothyroidism, ugly, low self-esteem, depression, loss, broken, lost, overweight, and I have no idea. Negative words, and then a little sad face, and I blocked in some in black. So these, along with other things, you know, and one thing that I have in the little bubbles is I'm tired, and that is a constant thing that I struggle with. And I know part of that is I'm tired physically with, and I know that started with all these different illnesses and just depression, the whole spectrum of things. But it's more than just a physical tired. And I think that's just caused from the overwhelm of everything, and just kind of my way of coping with stuff was always ignoring things and pretending they didn't exist and they would go away. So it would just pile on and pile on. So since then, I've still kind of, you know, been dealing with the same things. You know, I kind of do this thing, but I tend to surrender to God, and then I pick it up because I want it done faster. So last year, I believe it was last year, part of my word of the year was be still learning to do that. And just rest in Him, trust in Him, and do the things that I can do. This next one is just rest. It's rest covered in grace. And I have stickers, and I made a little big blanket with the same cat stamp, my same weird looking stick person. Looks like I put notebooks, a book, a purse, or a bag, and one of my favorite flowers is tulips, and I have that there. And on the bottom says, "But now Adonai, my God, has given me rest on every side. There is neither adversity or calamity." 1 Kings 5:18. This is this one here. I don't know if I'll go through all of my journals in this form, but if I decide to, I'll just cut the video in parts and just do a few different, maybe one for each journal, or one for each sketchbook. And then this one, I didn't really do much of anything. It's just something for me to remember. It says, "Chrissy, remember, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I come that they may have life. They may have life and have it abundantly." John 10:10. My next one, and that was also, these are all end of 2014 so far. I forget to mark some of these, so these could be beginning 2015 already. These are stencils that I used on this one. And then I think even the flowers were stencils as well. I think the only thing I drew here maybe might have been the birds. I'm not sure. And this one says, "Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth and wisdom with wisdom. And on her tongue is a law of kindness." I think I wrote that wrong. I'll have to check that. That is Proverbs 31, 25, and 26. So let me just make sure, because I think I skipped either a word in there or something like that. So Proverbs. I have my little Bible, so it's a lot harder to maneuver these pages. "Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom." I put mouth and wisdom. "With wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness." And then at the bottom, I have Proverbs 31:30, which is, "Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised." So this one is, I think this is from a coloring book. Yeah, this is a stencil in the corner up here, and this is from a coloring book. And this one, I just wrote in God's Girl at the top, and then the book that she has, I have Rest, Wisdom, and Grace written down on the back, and in this part here it says peace, and then it says God's love letter, which is the Bible. And these ones I took notes. We must have been reading The Best Yes by Lisa Turkhurst at the time. So these are the notes that I took on here. "Best yes answers are much more likely to happen when we are in the habit of seeking wisdom. We have to put our hearts and our minds in places where wisdom gathers, not scatters." And then the other one is, "Grab hold, come back from the sinking place, and from the deepest place of your soul, catch your breath." And the scriptures that I wrote down on this one are, "And this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best and may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ." Philippians 1, 9, and 10. "When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom." Proverbs 11:2. And then on the side, of course, I put, "Yes, God." So that's my best yes. Okay, these ones, I don't know how much of this I'll read out loud, but these next few, I believe, yeah, these were done, this is a big jump in time. These were done in November 28th, 2001. I don't know if I did all of them, but these ones are messing up at the bottom. Some of these I took from journals that I had written in already, or papers that I had found, and they were like poems. So I just kind of drew in like pieces of paper. Kind of see that. And then How Do You Rain in my stick figure. And this is supposed to be a door, and I just kind of wrote down what I was thinking about that at the time. And this is a lot to deal with mental health stuff that I struggled with based on things that I either dealt with in life, things I saw, and this was all through, from childhood on, I guess, a lot of this stuff. And some of this stuff was written 2015, some of the little ones that I have. Now, I may have wrote these in 2015, but they were a lot of stuff that I was trying to process through from like teen years and things like that. A lot like with anxiety, around this is around the time that I had quit working. This is maybe about a year or so later, because I'd gotten really sick, and I was struggling a lot. I had struggled a lot for a long time with anxiety, and even as far back as like first grade. But when I got older and I was trying to when I was in college, I couldn't get out of my car. I drive over there and I couldn't get out. And at this time, it was bad enough where I couldn't leave the house. I'd have panic attacks before I leave, or I'd have these, I see these things happening. If I left the house, I was going to get hurt. I don't know if that is bothering the microphone. Sorry, let me do this. I don't know if my hair kind of being on there is going to make noise, but so this one was, I can't leave my house alone. My mind races with bad thoughts. I want to hide, pretend I don't exist. My heart races. So these are just like thoughts, kind of poem type things that I was doing at the time. And so I transferred those into this thing. Yeah, a lot of these, I don't know if I'm ready to share any of these ones just yet. These are still some things that I haven't looked back on in a while, and there are things I still haven't processed really and worked through, because like I said, I tend to stuff things. So that's one. And then this one is kind of the same thing. It's the same type of thing with the papers. And then this, I wrote in it, trying to live mended by hope. Around that time, I think I shared before with my gratitude journal that I had made that, and in the back it said mended by hope. That was the name of I think I had a blog as well at that time, and an online Facebook group that I had that I was doing, like Bible studies and things like that. I guess it's been a long time. I can't remember what I was doing then, but it was something to do with that. And then I I wanted this channel at that time, when I started learning about YouTube and things like that. I thought, oh, one of these days I'd like to do something like that from blog, instead of blogging, doing something like a vlog instead. So it would have been Mended by Hope, and I totally forgot about this. My whole Coffee and Praise was, well, I love coffee, and my word of the year is praise, and I thought that's perfect name for the channel, as well as then my husband's channel is Skate and Praise, so we kind of go together. And but I may maybe do a series on Mended by Hope and kind of share some of this stuff from here. And a lot of this was just things that I wasn't able to do because of anxiety, because of medical issues that I didn't know how to deal with, or I didn't know were going on. And so, this was when I started processing some of this stuff, but I wasn't really ready for it. And then I just left this aside and did the same thing I do. And so this next one is very similar in a lot of ways to what the other ones are about. They're just things that I did. My car, I don't know how I drew that. It wasn't a stencil. I actually did this and it looks more like a stencil, but it's not the best thing. And this is a coffin. This is Dizzy Juice alcohol. And these are what I wrote about each thing. I'll kind of explain, I guess, part of these things. The coffin has something that I've dealt with for a long time, because I think I was really young when my uncle passed away, my dad's brother. He was killed. I was 4. I would have been 5 in February. He passed away in November. And that memory sticks in my head. I remember what I was wearing. I remember what he looked like, what he was wearing in the coffin. I remember what the church at that time looked like, where I was sitting. Just the whole situation is stuck in my head. And then the days after, the conversations I heard from adults and things got stuck. And I think that's where a lot of my anxiety comes from. That's part of it. But also it's the idea of being strong. You know, he was a person who was always there for everybody. He liked to help people. He was in college at the time, and I believe he was going into social work. And he was the youngest of my dad's siblings. And it just, when I listened to the conversations they were having, when they said, you know, he was strong, we have to be strong, be there for each other, my child brain took be strong as do not be emotional. Don't cry, don't get angry, don't basically don't allow emotion, just be everything's fine, you know, that kind of thing. And because of that, that's where a lot of this stuff came from. And I'm assuming that's where I got the idea from listening in on conversations I shouldn't have been listening in on at that time, because I didn't understand. And then just other things in life that happen. The car, when I wrote in there's a lot of different things in there. But one of it is getting car sick. I get car sick a lot. And it kind of, I think part of it's car sickness is emotion sickness, but there's a part where when I was younger, I was in 8th grade, I think, my little brother had a paper out, and at the time I think he was in sports. My parents were delivering, and my mom had picked us up from school. So me and my sisters were sitting in the back, and we would get out to take the paper. Well, my sisters were younger than me. They wanted to do it that day, I think, something like that. So I was sitting in the middle, and at that time, my parents had a Monte Carlo, so it was just a 2-door. So no windows in the back that could roll down or open, and my sisters were on side of me. Well, I had a panic attack, I guess. I got like the motion sickness, but I had this full-blown panic attack. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't breathe. I needed to get out. And so ever since then, when I start getting the motion sickness in a car, I get really panicky. And I don't know exactly if that's just because of that, because I feel trapped in there and I couldn't get out. I couldn't open the window. So that still kind of happens. I'm not sure what else. Oh, in a car accident that before I think it was quite a bit before this car sick thing, because I think I was a little younger, because I think at that time I may have been like in middle school or something like that. Maybe I had to be in middle school because my brother, I'm 11 years older than my brother, and he was already in sports, so he had to be like elementary. So I must have been at least 8th grade, if not older, when that part happened. So this car accident that we were in, it was just me and my younger sister, the next one, right after me, and she was really little. So I think I may have been 5 or 6 years old, maybe. I don't know, because my other sister wasn't with us, and she's only about 2 years younger than my next sister. So I'm assuming we were both pretty young. We were in Santa Fe with my parents. We were in my grandpa's truck. He had a black Chevy pickup with just the 2-door, and me and my sister were sitting in the seatbelt side, and it just started hailing crazy in Santa Fe, and somehow we lost control of the truck, and it went into the median, and it picked up, kind of like went this way to the side, and I was like, I could see the ground there, and it just kind of went so close. It seemed like there was just no way it was going to correct itself, and it corrected itself. And then before the cops got there, just to know what had happened or whatever to report it, the hail was gone. It was like it was never there. There was nothing, hardly anything left on the ground anywhere around us. But there was a lady who, I believe it was a lady, from what I heard later on from my parents, who saw everything happen, and she stayed and kind of let them know. But so there's those kinds of things with the car thing. And the other stuff, like the dizzy juice, just like seeing people in family, people that were close to me, alcoholics, or just what alcohol did to some of those people, and how they acted and that kind of stuff. And so this next one was January 7th, 2015, and that's supposed to be a school. Supposed to be the middle, no, needs to be a school, because I think this I'm talking about, talked about the first grade, the lunchrooms. When I was leaving the lunchroom, got sick. I don't know what it was. I always blamed it on the milk. I thought I got sick, like nauseated, sick from drinking milk, but I drank milk before. And I don't know if it ever got me sick before. But I blamed it on that. But the thing that happened that was it more, I guess it made it a little bit worse, was after I threw this stuff in this trash can, I was walking, I had to run out. I couldn't breathe. I had a panic attack, and I don't know if it was because I was feeling nauseated from the milk. I don't know what happened. But since that day, I went home and I told my parents I was not going back to that school. I wanted to go to a different school. So I don't know if something else happened. I don't remember. So that's part of what this is about, the whole school thing. And just a lot of different things that went on during school with health stuff. Being on crutches, because you can tell that story. I was in 4th grade, and we were at Lincoln Park, and me and my uncle, who is a couple years younger than me, were playing, and I was wearing Percy Easter dress and everything. And at that time, they used to have sprinklers that stuck out of the ground, like from the ground to, like, a pretty good amount, maybe like this long or so. And then they had a little piece sticking out like this where the water came out of. Well, we were running and running and running, and all of a sudden, I just fell. Like the feeling in my leg just gave out or something, and I fell, and I didn't feel anything. My uncle saw something on my leg, and he yelled, and he's like, "Oh my God," I don't know what he said. And so I looked down, and I saw a hole in my leg, and that's when I started feeling something, like, and it freaked me out. I screamed, and then I remember my dad ran over there, and my mom told my dad to go get the van, and my uncle picked me up. My older uncle, picked me up and took me to the van, and they took me to the hospital. Well, while I was running, the little piece of metal got stuck right in my leg, like right next to my knee, and it went all the way through. I remember hearing the doctor say they could see the bone in there. And I had to get stitches. I think I had, I don't know if it was 20 stitches, 18 stitches, I don't know. And it, that hurt. The shots that they had to give me to numb it all and clean all the thing and put the stitches in was worse than the actual the metal getting stuck in my leg. So I was on crutches for, I don't even know how long. I just remember it was Easter break, and it took me a couple weeks before I could go back to school, I believe, or something like that. Went back to school, I was there for like maybe 2 days, and I got chicken pox. So I was on crutches with not a cast, but the wrap and everything around my leg with chicken pox. And it was the end of the school year, and it was just, yeah, it was a mess. And then there's some other things in there that eventually I'll talk more about when I do like the more of the health stuff. This one is my Walkman. How many of you had one of these? I think I still have one. I know not too long ago my dad bought one at a thrift store for like $5, and it still works. If I could find one of these, if I don't have one, if I could just find one new that works, I probably would carry it around and listen to all my old tapes. So this one has some lyrics to a couple of songs that actually 3 different songs that I was listening to then. And this were not necessarily at the time that I wrote this, but this was like kind of throughout when I was younger up until this time. So these old ones were a Megadeth song. And I'm going to say this wrong because I do not know how to speak French, but it's a Tout le monde. I know I'm saying that wrong. I don't have an accent, but I wrote the lyrics to that. And then I had Fade to Black by Metallica. I was a Christian, okay, since I was really young. I don't remember a time not believing. I was baptized at 14. But in between all that time, all of the things that happened to me, and just things I went through in general, just life, I struggled a lot with depression and anxiety and different things. And I didn't say anything. I just kept everything to myself. Everything was fine. I did a lot of writing. I did a lot of daydreaming with music on. I processed a lot of my emotions in ways that I knew how to through music. So, I had a lot of amazing Christian artists that I used to listen to. I just did listen to like 90s country. I liked some of that. I never was a real big R&B, rap, hip hop fan. There was few songs, but not very many. Most of what I listened to would be considered like classic rock now, or it's classic rock, the 70s, 60s. I know my dad had all that in 70s, 80s. I listened to the, like, what would they call in the 80s? Like the hair bands, oh my goodness. Yeah. Rock, I guess, the hair bands, like, Bon Jovi and all them. And then I listened to a lot of like metal, heavy metal. So like Megadeth, Metallica were some of my favorites. I listened to a lot of bands that I would not listen to now. A lot of stuff I would not listen to now. If I even hear some of these songs, it's like it does trigger a lot of those issues. And then one song that I put down here is by 10th Avenue North. It didn't write down what song this was, but it's the one that says, I'm tired, I'm worn, my heart is heavy from the work it takes to keep on breathing. I've made mistakes. I've let my hope fail. My soul feels crushed by the weight of this world. And I know you can give me rest, so I cry out with all that I have left. Let me see redemption win. Let me know the struggle ends. That you can mend a heart that's frail and torn. I want to know a song can rise from the ashes of a broken life. And all that's dead inside can be reborn because I'm worn. I know I need to lift my eyes up, but I'm too weak. Life just won't let up. And I know that you can give me rest, so I cry out with all that I have left. And that's what I wrote on there. And that is still one of those songs that really resonates with me at times. And, because when you don't work through things as they're coming and you stuff them all, they're all coming to head at once. And so now, in my mid-40s, this is what I'm working on. And this is, hopefully, it doesn't take as long as the time it took for me to get here. But, I'm just trusting God for that. And then this next one is a sun. And I don't know, this lighting, I don't know if you can see some of this stuff. The lighting in here is not great. And I even have the ring light up here. But so this one just has, my help comes from the Lord. Save me, O God, by your strength. Psalm 54:1. This is getting to be a long video, and I haven't even gone, well, I'm almost done with this one. This is going to be, maybe I'll put this one in 2 videos. I don't know. This is just another coloring book paper. Consider it pure joy, my brethren, whenever you fall into various trials. And I didn't finish that. I'll have to look up the scripture. And now that I started watercoloring, I've been doing a lot of cabins in my sketchbook anyway. So this was one I did. I didn't even remember doing this. So I still have to learn perception, like when I draw certain things. This next one's just words. It's just a scripture. Hatred stirs up conflict, but love covers over all wrongs. Wisdom is found in the lips of the discerning. Proverbs 10, 12, and 13. This one is like, this is a poem that I wrote, and this is, I don't know. I drew this based off of looking at something, I think. And then this one is it's just a sketch of a girl and a hand, and it says, in my mind, I lift my hand to you, Elohim, God. And this one is a stencil. And then, I don't know if you can see any of the rest of it. Oh, this lighting. It is just a road with some mountains up here. But they're just in pencil. Nothing was colored in. October 2015. It's just words again. Oh, and this is my favorite hymn. I come to the garden alone. Early before, this is something I just read. Early before the stresses of the day began, I seek him, long for his peace and his presence. I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. And what I did here is I just, in the parts of the hymn that have his, which is Yeshua, Jesus, I just put a heart around it, and then I put in the part where it says me, I just wrote in my name, and it was just a prayer. Something I wrote at the bottom was, in the scariest of times, he is there. Today is here with me, waiting for me to surrender the fear that plagues me. And then this one, I was doing I wanted to try to make something for Mended by Hope, some kind of sticker or patch or design for either, I don't know, some kind of merch, I guess they call it now. So this was my idea, and I'm still working on this. Maybe I'll do something like this. And it's, hopefully you can see that. And it just has the needle and thread and the heart with the, and then this was actually done by my husband. I don't know if you could see. I'll explain this. This is a dream that I had. And in the dream, we're in my hometown by the post office. It was raining, came out of the post office. For some reason, this was years and years ago. Maybe like, it had to be over 5 years ago. Maybe. Something like that. Anyway, I came out of the post office in my dream, and I looked towards the east, and there was the sky open. Like, there was blue sky, but it opened, and it was like the night sky, dark and bunch of stars, and there was the moon, full moon right in the middle, a crescent moon like this on the bottom, and then this one only has the 2, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was one on the top looking like over it or something. I can't quite remember that, but it was a dream that really stuck with me, and I wrote this one down somewhere, I think. And then I have a lot of very interesting dreams, and I do write them down. And now I did have my husband sketch it, because I was trying to, figure out what exactly was going on, and just to pray about it and all that stuff. So One of these days I'll talk more about some dreams that I've had that have come to pass in some way or another. So that's all I have in this one. So I have like quite a bit of this left over, so I probably will end up using this one. And since this video is already 40 minutes long, I think I will cut it. All right, well, that's it for this one. I'll try to be quicker on the other ones, and instead of explaining every one. It's just I hadn't looked at that one in a long time. I think I just felt like kind of talking more about it. But I will share the other ones in the next video. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. God bless you. Bye.